Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are giving you a life update on our life after union challenges, struggles, and things that we've been moving through. Watch this video. All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here today. If you don't already know, I'm Serena.
And I'm James.
And we are Life After Union, two twin flames in union. We make these weekly videos to help you through your spiritual awakening journeys, your ascension journeys, your twin flame journeys, and your conscious relationships.
Lots of journeys.
Lots of journeys. Interweaving and interwoven, all these different journeys. So today we have kind of a cool, different, exciting video where I thought it was really important to share candidly and openly what life after union really looks like. So if you've been wondering, okay, what is this?
Or at least for us.
Yeah, not for us. But if you've been wondering, okay, like what happens after union? Like, are you both perfect beings and there's never conflict ever again? Like, what's going on in the relationship? Like, what things are you still struggling with? What things are you excelling at? So today we're going to kind of talk about that from our lens, from, what we've been moving through. And a lot of the twin flames that I talk to, have same or similar goals that you and I have. So I think it'll be really interesting to just share kind of what's been coming up for us. So that being said, if you guys don't already know, we don't really talk that much, I feel like, about our specific relationship, like in our specific relationship dynamics. So if you guys don't know, we have one baby. She is what, 14, almost 15 months?
About 16 months.
16 months.
Yeah.
So she's 16 months old. And so we've been navigating new parenthood. We recently got a puppy. We live on an off-grid sustainable farm in South Africa where we run completely on solar power. I was going to say we grow our own food, but that's not necessarily true.
It's coming. It's coming. There's
that's
some
the
food that
dreams.
we grow.
Yes, we do our own herbs and berries and things like that. Claire is obsessed with going to pick gooseberries from the garden. If you don't know what a gooseberry is, Google it. I'd never heard of them before moving here. But anyways, that's kind of our lifestyle. We live very minimalistically. We live, very kind of in tune with nature in a way. We live as sustainably as we can. We prioritize time together, time outside, and connecting with the natural world around us. So that being said, we have been navigating new parenthood. And together, I would say, this has been a challenging time for us in our relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely hasn't been all rainbows and unicorns. But then again, I don't know if it really should just always be all groovy. You got to kind of have a bit of a struggle every now and again, and I think that's what really tests a relationship and shows you how far you also want to go with each other, which I think is quite important.
Yeah, I think what's important is to share what's actually coming up for us. We don't want to be kind of that influencer couple that you feel like their life is literally perfect and there's nothing going on behind the scenes, because I think that's never the case. I think everyone always has their internal struggles that they're moving through. And so us making this video is just like an attempt to show you, like, we also have those things that we're moving through, even though we're helping and serving and supporting other people, other twin flames. And we love doing that. That arguably has done wonders actually for our relationship together. Making these videos and working together with other twin flames has done amazing things for our relationships at this point in our lives. But we really had like a fast track when you talk about twin flames not being traditional, right? Or kind of breaking molds or breaking blueprints. You guys, in 1 year, we got married, decided I was going to be living here, so moved me here, got married, applied for a spousal visa, built a house, and had a baby, all in 1 year.
That pretty much sums the big things up,
yeah. So we did a lot in 1 year, you guys. I don't even know how that much was possible in 1 year. But that being said, like, that has brought with it its own challenges in a way. And so what we've been moving through, I think in our relationship is, when we had Claire, it was a big death and rebirth point for both of us. Hello, we forgot to close the door. Hi, puppy. So we have been navigating new parenthood, and I think when Claire was born, we both had a major kind of death and rebirth aspect for us individually, then us as a family, us as a couple, which,
There's multiple
probably,
layers,
yeah,
yeah.
all new children in the world are probably going to do that to a relationship on different levels. So I'm sure everybody that has had children knows what I'm talking about. But I think from the twin flame lens, we really kind of almost had a separation point there. And I really can only speak from my side, where I dove really deeply into some collective mother wounds and some collective feminine wounds around being really unworthy, feeling, I did this like quote unquote amazing thing where we had a home birth. It was not medicated. It was, a beautiful experience. But at the end of the day, I did not feel how I thought I was going to feel at all. And I think to me, that really shocked my system, because I felt super unworthy. I remember feeling super unworthy of you even making me toast in the morning.
It was
Like,
very frustrating.
it was really difficult for me to ask him to do anything for me. And I don't know why that came up. Like, that was, to me, it felt very collective mother wounds and collective feminine. And I just kind of had to move through it and ride it out. And it took me probably, I would say, at least 6 months after having Claire to regain a sense of like security and confidence within myself. I think a lot of that also had to do with such radical body changes, and just looking at myself in the mirror and not even really recognizing myself. And because of that, I really feel like I turned away from you and I turned really into myself, which is funny because it's what we always advertise you should do on the twin flame journey, right? Is to turn within. But it's like, it's a really interesting thing. And I've never actually done this before successfully in a relationship, where I've actually kind of almost cut myself off from the person, not in an unhealthy way, but just more so in a like, okay, I need to focus on me. I need to grow and nurture what's going on within myself. And that means I need to prioritize, obviously my little nugget. I need to prioritize her, and I need to also prioritize getting myself back into a place where I feel comfortable and confident with where I am. And anytime I've gotten to that point in a relationship, it was the signifier of the end of the relationship. So this was really interesting for me. Now, I wouldn't say we're fully on the other side of it, but coming out of that space and being able to be like, okay, now who are we? And moving through that with a little bit more grace. There's definitely more I had to say on it, but I would love to have your take on that time specifically.
Yeah, I mean, that time was very difficult. It was very annoying for me when I knew you needed something and you wouldn't ask me, because I said, just ask me. I am waiting for you to ask me. I don't want to do it because then obviously that would upset you. So I was like, just ask me if you want a slice of toast, if you want me to go, run to the shop to buy a shop, whatever it was. I was waiting for it, and sometimes I was like, just freaking ask me, stop struggling.
Yeah. I was so dependent on you. It was so frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Like, it was so frustrating to me to not be able to go anywhere. I couldn't like do the things I could normally do. Obviously, when you have a newborn, they're completely dependent on you. So then I felt like I was so much more dependent on you. I was not expecting that at all. And so I think I felt really vulnerable. I felt so vulnerable because of how much I needed you, and I've never needed a partner like that before, so to me it was really scary because I felt like everything was out of my control.
And to some degree it was a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it was a difficult time because obviously I wanted to do everything I could to help you, but at the same time I knew I had to let it be within you coming to me instead of me just going to you the whole time. So in a lot of ways, obviously I took a lot off my shoulders. Like, I was going to financially support us, I was going to make sure we had food, do the whole works, like be there for you as much as I could, while still helping with Bubba where I could here and there, and then still doing work. And it was a lot to definitely drain me out, which also then took energy away from me for us to also then work on things at the same time, which obviously plays a big part, which I don't think a lot of people really think about.
Yeah.
Because there's a big part of that. I mean, I'm a very high energetic person, but I was taking so much on that it did drain me. And not that, I mean, I definitely don't regret anything, and if we had to do it again, I'd do it all over again, wouldn't even bat an eyelid at it. But yeah, it definitely took a lot away from me in order to have that extra capability and energy to then come and try connect in that way as well, which was difficult, because it did at times feel like things were not splitting but kind of drifting apart a little bit, like almost like the Torah between us just kind of stretched out. Yeah, it was a very interesting, very long, rough, tiring time, but I wouldn't change a single part of it.
Do you think that so like us drifting apart, right? Do you think, like, I'm going to call it an internal separation, like, and I've talked about this very briefly on our channel before, is like, you can still have separation points within union, but they're like more energetic or emotional in nature. They're not quite as like, a physical separation. Like, some twins will get into union and then also have a physical separation. But that's, a whole nother thing. But I believe that we can also have, different energetic and emotional separations within union, because, we're toggling back and forth between that 3D, 5D reality. That being said, do you feel like it was healing for you on any level to be able to drift far apart and know that that didn't mean the demise of our relationship? Like, do you think it built more trust and more confidence in our relationship because we were able to allow that to happen and it didn't like kill the relationship?
Um, I mean, I definitely do. I think as well, part of it that really helped is obviously the start of our story when we had our separation. We only talked to each other every now and again. I had
Mm.
signal, you had signal. So there was a part of it where it didn't really concern me. I don't know if that sounds bad or not, but that is a part of that didn't really concern me because I kind of knew that, you know what, we're going through a stage. Obviously, I knew that you physically had gone through a lot because, I mean, birth is no small feat by any means necessary. So it was kind of one of those things like we had to just keep going on it, keep going through what we were doing, making sure that obviously we're both in a good place mentally and physically and emotionally, which we kind of stayed pretty much on top of that, and then just trusting the process and just being like, as long as we know we're both there for each other, nothing's changed between us. We don't love each other any less because we're not necessarily maybe talking as much or whatever it might be, and that it's just, you know, we're going through a huge change. I mean, it was mega. We only just moved in our house, still not complete. With a newborn baby, didn't have a fireplace, anything like that. Like there was a lot of things that kind of came up. So to me, I just knew that, you know, just had to just keep on moving forward, keep on doing what I was doing, provide for the family, provide for you, make sure I was still leaving time and energy for myself as well. And just, yeah, keep going one foot in front of the other. At no point did I ever think that even separation was even an option. It doesn't occur to me in the slightest.
Yeah, like a physical separation.
Any kind of separation.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
I
know
mean,
what I mean.
I hear what you're saying, yes. But you mean like leaving the relationship,
Yeah.
like type of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I ever really considered that. I mean, I think I definitely had fears or doubts about it, you know, because when you get into that kind of dark headspace where you're not sure which way is up and which way is down, you definitely do start to doubt. And I think like for me especially, you know, sharing so much on YouTube and so much of like that kind of stuff, it definitely can sometimes create a like a shadow side of like, oh, I have to only support other people, or I can't accept any help, or you know, like I have to put on a bright and happy face. Do you remember like the first 15 times we made a video together? It was pretty tense. Like, it was difficult, you know, and that was like right after Claire was born. And I remember, you guys, it's really funny because I remember it being the same exact way when I started on YouTube. Like I had so many blockages that I needed to get through. And I think for us as a couple, in order to be comfortable doing this together in this space, like it was rocky in the beginning. Like, you know, I was super particular about how you looked or what you wore.
What do you mean you were?
I was very particular about like the setup. Like there was so many things that I was frustrated about because I wanted it to be a certain way. And it's funny now looking back because I'm like, how could it ever not be us? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of funny.
I can't recall somebody saying this from the start,
yeah,
we won't go there.
yeah. But you know, that's the Virgo in me that wants things to be perfect and and has a vision, you know, of what I want it to be. And yeah, it's not always going to turn out that way. And sometimes if I had more leeway towards allowing it to unfold, kind of like this video is, if I had more leeway towards allowing that, then yeah, would things maybe line up a little bit more effortlessly? Of course, if you let the universe take care of things, it does usually line up a bit more effortlessly. But that being said, I wanted to also thank you for answering that question.
No but as well, just before go, a lot of that you had to do in order to get to this place as well. So even though you look back at it now, and I mean, I say in my joking way, like, oh, I'm pretty sure I said it from the start, the only way we get here is for you to have gone through that expression to get to this point, to know where you actually want to focus more things into rather than smaller nitty-gritties that don't necessarily not matter but might not matter as much as you think they might.
Yes, yeah, because whenever you're trying something new, it always seems like the little details matter more than they actually do, right? Like when you, if you just start, you just keep going, you just keep consistent, you just keep making progress, like things will start to happen, you know. But it's like when you get bogged down in those tiny little details, that's when it really starts to all kind of feel really overwhelming. But that being said, I want to kind of move into, you know, I made 2 fairly recent videos talking about twin flame sex and twin flame intimacy when it comes to sex. And it's something that was also brought up in our group sessions, you know, and it's, you know, I think I'm trying to remember exactly how the question was phrased in the group session, but it was just basically like, oh, is twin flame sex like everything you say that it is? And a part of me was actually thinking about that the day before one of our group members on Twin Flame Path to Awakening asked that question. And I was like, you know, I would really love in the future to make more videos about, you know, the intricacies of twin flame sex, but I don't think I'm the right person to do that right now because of the fact of where our relationship was, or where our relationship is, which is, you guys, it's not a priority to us at this time. And that sounds like I can hear an old version of myself gasping and being like, the relationship is going to end, because I had so many preconceived ideas as to how often you have to have sex in order to sustain
that back.
sustain the relationship. And I want to share like why this has been so good for me personally, and so healing for me. But like I had so many preconceived ideas of like, and it all came from a control mindset, like I remember previous partners, and I really only wanted to be intimate with them when um Tiny's running around with a diaper out there.
Oh, no.
I only wanted to be intimate with them when it was a form of control. When I felt like distant from them, I would use it as a way to feel closer. Now that's not inherently wrong, but if you lack the tools in order to connect in other ways, you end up searching for limited ways to connect. And so I would do that a lot, where I was trying to control my partner, and so that would be a way I would control my partner, was through offering sex. And so what has been really healing for our relationship is to almost just let go of physical intimacy almost altogether, right? Because there was a time, I remember, after Claire was born and I was cleared to have sex again, I was absolutely terrified, you guys. I was very, very scared. I was so scared. Like I felt like my body had been through so much trauma. I didn't even have that relationship with my body. So I was like, how could I have that relationship with somebody else? So it's like I had to reconnect that entire relationship to my body again, and then allow another person into that space. But for me, it's been so healing to be able to let go of that and feel like, and I'll give you guys a reason why, because I know why. And feel like I can actually, like, I bring more to the table than just what my body offers,
Oh, yeah.
And I think as a feminine thing, like, that's very healing to be able to say, like, oh, my partner actually loves me for more than what I can just offer him on a bodily sense. And I've never experienced that in a physical relationship before. I've maybe conceived of it energetically or emotionally with partners, but I've never actually tested it and played it out. So this actually been super healing for me. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because my father had infidelity when I was like 13 years old. This is like the prime age for when you're even starting to think about sex and relationships and boyfriends and girlfriends and kissing and things like that. And that's literally my first like experience of that, is a place of shame, adultery, ripping the family apart. And so like what got imprinted into me is, if you don't satisfy your husband, he will do this, right? And my karmic relationship played that out to me on such a big level. That's why this has been so healing, is because I realized, like, no, you actually don't have to give yourself to somebody. It's not an obligation, right? It's a gift. And I never saw myself as a gift in that way. I always saw it as, well, that's what you have to do in order to be a good wife, in order to be a good partner, in order to be a good woman. That's what you have to do. And so I've been healing so much internally by not forcing myself to go along with that, and actually saying, like, do I want to do this right now? And that's been huge for me. Do you want to speak on
that? I mean, it's definitely been a very, very big thing for us. It hasn't necessarily been the easiest thing to go through. I mean, of course, I would like us to be intimate with each other a lot more, but I think every man out there would agree with me on that. We genuinely won't say no. It's more often, if I offer to you, there's a bigger chance of you say no than if you come to me than me ever say no. Like, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But no, it's definitely, it's changed a lot of aspects in our relationship, and it's definitely made us have to connect in a lot of other ways, which has really ultimately deepened our connection hugely.
It's created a lot of trust between each other, knowing that we aren't, each one of us, because you also have infidelity issues in your past, not with your parents, but with your previous relationships. So it's like, it creates that trust factor of, you aren't going to seek that elsewhere. You will still value this relationship and this connection over that
one
aspect. Yeah. I don't want to say small, because it's not small at all, but over that one aspect. Yeah.
I mean, of course, do I want to work on that aspect?
Me too.
I think everybody does. Yeah. But as well, we're not putting so much pressure onto ourselves, at least I feel, to work on that right now, because it's something it's like, it doesn't have to be something that we force into play, that we jump into right now, and it must work, otherwise nothing. It's like, we know that this time is going to come, whether it comes in about 3 hours or if it comes in about 3 months, that doesn't really matter, because we will ultimately reconnect and rekindle that part of our relationship. It's just, we're busy working on other things. I mean, we've got a lot going on. You've got your whole business that you're now running. I've got my new company that I'm busy running at the same time as well. We have Claire, we have Tiny, we have our house that we're busy with, busy trying to improve our like surrounding areas. Like that, we have so many things happening. that one aspect isn't prioritized at the top right now.
Right.
Once all these things, but maybe once these things start to fall into place and becomes easier with it, maybe then like, hey, well now there's actually space for this. Let's see if we can go into that again.
Right.
But we allow ourselves a space and time so that it's not expected, it doesn't have to happen in order for us to be,
okay.
happy and okay
Yeah.
and all the rest. Like that, both of us feel that thinking of it that way is just silly.
Yeah.
It's not the crux of our relationship. That's not it at all. Our baseline relationship is the fact that we're able to communicate and talk through everything, and through that, and through the kind of people that we are, that other area will come back into play when it is time and when we are both ready for it as well.
Yeah, and I think that's part of being a twin flame and having that kind of unconditional aspect towards each other is, you're right, like when conflicts come up, yes, it's a problem, and yes, there are solutions that we need to have towards certain conflicts, but at the end of the day, I think we both really view our own struggles or challenges or things that come up as just a passing thing.
Yeah.
Like we don't get so bent out of shape around certain things because we realize, okay, this is just playing out in this moment and that's going to pass, and now the order is going to be different, the dance is going to be different, there's going to be changes, and so we both have kind of a wider perspective of our relationship that doesn't make us so like strict on how things have to play out in our relationship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free flowing space, and I think because, like you said, in our separation and in the foundations of our relationship, we've created such a strong bond. Like if you did come to me and say like, oh look, I find this person attractive and I'd really like to take this opportunity, would I be freaking terrified? Yes. But I would
would I be terrified? Yes.
but I would trust you with my life enough to say like, I would be able to see outside of my fear enough to say like, this is my partner, this is what's going to be beneficial for him, and I know that will bring something back to me in return, right? Like I understand, and not even just on a sexual level, on like any level. If you came to me and you say like, oh, I got this job opportunity in Germany and I want to go there for 2 weeks and you guys got to stay here by yourselves, would I be sad? Of course. Would I want to come with? Of course. But I would be able to see outside of myself enough to see how beneficial something would be for you, and be able to be like, okay, like let's figure out a way to make that happen. And I think that's really the space that we're moving into now, and not even just us, but like as a collective, like we're moving into that space where we're understanding like, okay, like I am going to be okay and you are going to be okay. Yeah. And our relationship and our connection goes beyond these kind of physical parameters, these conditions of what's showing up in physical reality.
Speaking of which, I've got a really cool surf trip opportunity coming up.
Do I get to go? Oh, okay.
I guess so.
Well, we'll talk about that off camera. So yeah, we just wanted to update you guys. I don't think there's anything else that we need to put on here.
No,
I think we're
nothing off the top of my mind.
Pretty good. But let us know what you guys thought about this type of video. Is it something you'd want to see more often? Do you find it interesting or intriguing to know what we're moving through, and how we relate that on like a collective level? I would find that really interesting. And if you're looking for more support, you want to work with us and other aligned twin flames, you can check the links down below. We're taking applications for Twin Flame Path to Awakening, where we walk you through the steps towards your own inner union to become the embodiment of twin flame union, and therefore see that reflected in your outside reality. So we are teaching you not only spiritual tools, but also practical relationship tools. There's so much goodness inside there, and we're looking forward to the individuals that we get to experience this with. If you feel like that's you, sign up down below, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for being here today. Big love.
Bye.
Bye.